349 weeks, world number 1. That number belongs to Lee Chong Wei of Malaysia, the longest reign at the top of men's badminton rankings in the entire history of the sport. 199 consecutive weeks at number 1 between 2008 and 2012. Nobody has ever dominated the rankings the way Lee Chong Wei did, and yet 3 Olympic finals, 0 gold medals, 4 World Championship finals, 0 gold medals, 7 appearances at the biggest stages badminton has to offer, 7 defeats, 7 silvers, the most dominant player of his generation, the man who spent more time at world number 1 than anyone else in history, and he could not win a single Olympic gold medal, could not win a single world championship. Was Lee Chong Wei the greatest badminton player who ever lived? Or was he the greatest choker badminton has ever seen? Today we analyze every devastating moment, every heartbreak, every title that slipped through his fingers when it mattered most. Chapter 1. The undeniable greatness. Before the verdict, we must acknowledge the greatness, because dismissing Lee Chong Wei as simply a choker without understanding what he achieved would be deeply unfair. 69 career titles, 46 BWF Super Series titles, an all-time record, 12 Malaysia Open titles, another all-time record, 4 All England Open Championships, 4 BWF World Super Series Finals titles, a career spanning 17 years at the absolute elite level of the sport. In regular season tournaments, the Super Series events, the Premier tournaments, the year-end finals, Lee Chong Wei was almost unbeatable. He won against Lin Dan, he won against Chen Long, he won against Kento Momota, he won against Victor Axelsen, he beat every great player of his era on a consistent basis. ESPN once compared him to Roger Federer, a player of extraordinary dominance and consistency, who somehow could not convert that dominance into the biggest titles. The comparison is painful but accurate. Like Federer against Nadal, Lee Chong Wei had a nemesis, and that nemesis was Lin Dan. Chapter 2. The Lin Dan Problem. Lee Chong Wei's head-to-head record against Lin Dan tells the story of a rivalry that defined an era and defined Lee's legacy in the most painful way possible. Lee Chong Wei versus Lin Dan. 37 meetings, Lee won 12, Lin Dan won 25. At the biggest tournaments, the Olympics and the World Championships, Lin Dan won every single time they met in a final. 2008 Beijing Olympics final, the first great clash. Lee arrived as world number 1, the favorite in many eyes. Lin Dan was explosive, aggressive and totally dominant. He destroyed Lee 21-12, 21-8. The scoreline was not even close. Lee did not lose, he was dismantled. 2011 World Championship final. This was Lee's greatest chance and his most devastating loss. He led Lin Dan in the deciding game. He held 2 match points, 2 separate opportunities to win the World Championship and end the drought. He lost both. Lin Dan recovered, won 21-19 in the third. The 2 match points that slipped away still haunt Malaysian badminton to this day. 2012 London Olympics final. Lee led 19-18 in the third game, 1 point from victory, 1 point from Olympic gold, and then he misjudged a shuttle in the deep corner. A single error, a fraction of a second of misjudgment, and the momentum shifted. Lin Dan closed out the match. Silver again. 2013 World Championship final. Lee had the early momentum, and then cramps struck. His body betrayed him. Lin Dan, sensing the weakness, raised his level. Lee lost again, another silver. 4 times, 4 finals, 4 defeats against one man. Chapter 3. The Rio Heartbreak. 2016 Rio Olympics was supposed to be Lee Chong Wei's redemption story, his final chance at Olympic gold, and for one extraordinary semi-final it looked like the story would finally have a different ending. Lee versus Lin Dan in the semi-final. The player who had broken his heart 3 times in the biggest finals. Lee won the first game, lost the second, and in the third game, in the most intense pressure situation of his career, Lee Chong Wei played some of the greatest badminton of his life. He won 22-20 in the third game. Finally, for the first time at an Olympic Games, he had defeated Lin Dan. The The two men hugged at the net and exchanged shirts. It was one of the most emotional moments in Olympic history. Lee had tears in his eyes. He told reporters, "This is my last Olympics and I have never won the gold medal. Now it is just one more step, one final match against Chen Long." Lee had beaten Chen Long 13 times in his career. He knew his game. He was prepared. The gold medal was the closest it had ever been. And then Chen Long, calm, clinical and completely unaffected by the occasion, played a near-perfect final, 21-18, 21-18. Lee's final shot, a smash, landed agonizingly wide. 3 Olympic finals, 3 silver medals, the gold that never came. Chapter 4, the doping shadow. And then there is the chapter that Lee Chong Wei's legacy can never fully escape, the doping violation. In September 2014, after the World Championships, Lee tested positive for dexamethasone, a banned anti-inflammatory substance. The BWF investigated. Lee claimed the substance had entered his system through contaminated food. After 8 months of deliberation, Lee was suspended for 8 months and his 2014 World Championship silver medal was stripped from his record. The timing was brutal. 2014 was the year Lee reached the World Championship final and lost narrowly to Chen Long, 21-19, 21-19. 2 of the closest possible scorelines, a match that many believed Lee could and should have won. Instead of a silver medal, he received a suspension. Instead of redemption, he received the most damaging label in professional sport: drug cheat. Lee always maintained his innocence. The BWF accepted that there was no intention to enhance performance, but the record was erased regardless. And the shadow, however unfair, has never fully lifted. Chapter 5. The verdict. So was Lee Chong Wei, the biggest choker in badminton history. The numbers make a powerful case. 7 major finals, 0 wins, 2 match points in 2011, gone. A 19-18 third game lead at London 2012, gone. A final shot, wide in Rio, gone. A doping suspension that erased a World Championship final appearance entirely. But here is the uncomfortable truth about the choker label. Lee Chong Wei did not choke because he played badly in finals. He lost because Lin Dan and Chen Long played extraordinarily well. He lost because the margins in elite badminton are so tiny that the difference between gold and silver is often not a mental collapse. It is one shuttle landing 6 inches wide instead of 6 inches inside the line. The man who spent 349 weeks as world number 1 was not mentally weak. A mentally weak player does not come back from 2 Olympic silver medals to compete in a third final at the age of 33. A mentally weak player does not defeat the man who broke his heart 3 times to reach that final. If this analysis made you think differently about Lee Chong Wei, if you now see his career not just as a story of failure, but as something far more complicated and far more human, then this channel was built for you. Every week, we go deeper into the real stories and brutal truths behind the sport we all love. Hit the notification bell, share this with every badminton fan you know, and tell us in the comments, do you think Lee Chong Wei was a choker, or simply a great player unlucky enough to face an even greater one? We want to hear your verdict. The debate starts right now.